Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be looking at how to make noise bases inside of Serum2. So we're going to be taking advantage of some of the features or new features that Serum2 offers us. That means I'm going to show you two ways of making a noise base. I'm going to show you the traditional way that you guys are probably familiar with, which you've seen in probably a million other videos. But I'm also going to show you another way that is now possible that we have Serum2. So stick around to find out that technique. So before we actually get into making any sounds, the first thing that I wanted to just go over is the layout of Serum2. When we look at Serum2 here, you might notice that it looks very familiar. They haven't really changed the layout very much. Everything seems to be in the same place that it was before, with the addition of a few new extra things, which is really cool because if you take, for example, Native Instruments, now there was Massive and then they made Massive X. And Massive X wasn't that popular, even though it is a really good synth. It wasn't that popular because they changed the layout and it looked like a completely different synth. So anyone who went from Massive and then started using Massive X, it was a real big change visually. And I think that affects a lot of people, even though the basic ideas and principles of synthesis remain the same in it. The visual aspect of it put a lot of people off, I think, because they completely changed the layout of it and it looked very different. So it was like learning something completely new for a lot of people. And I think that put a lot of people off that synth, even though it is actually a really good synth. But back to my point, Serum2, they've kept things very similar. So it's very familiar for everyone. When you look at it, you don't feel like you're just looking at a brand new synth and everything's like completely new and you've got to learn everything all over again. You kind of know where most things are. You just need to discover a few of the new things. A quick tip for anyone wanting to learn a new synth, whether it be Diva or whether it be Massive X, etc., etc., try and find what you already know. Find your envelopes, find your LFOs, figure out how to modulate, etc., etc. Make sounds that you already know. So if you already know how to make an 808 bass, recreate an 808 bass in that synth. And this is the best tip I can give you for learning new synths. If you try that, you'll figure out things a lot quicker and you'll also learn new things along the way through trial and error. So start at the beginning, crawl before you can walk, basically. Anyway, guys, let's get into making these noise bases now. So like I mentioned, I'm going to create two noise bases here, and we're going to compare the two at the end, and these are going to be two different techniques. So let's begin by making the original noise base. Here we go. Okay, so here you can see we've got an initialized preset in Serum2. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into wavetable 1 and we're going to use the Serum2 table. So these are the new ones. If you come inside analog, you'll see lots of new things here in digital as well. We're going to use the analog for this one, and we're going to come all the way down and we're going to choose the 808 jungle one for this one. And that gives us this nice warm, turn this up. Get that. We also get a click here, so we're going to remove that by coming over here and putting the attack on about 2.8, something like that. Now we've got rid of the click. Volume, that will do for now. I'm just going to come to here and put this on mono, and I'm going to make sure it's on legato, and I'm going to turn the portamento up here. This means it's just going to glide, so I don't get that clicking anymore. So that's sorted out. What we need to do next is just turn the random down here so it all starts from the same place. And we also need to turn on a noise. So we come to the noise here and let's select a noise. Now you'll see also in Serum2, we've got Serum2 noises. And we've got this color section down here. I'm going to select the white noise from the color. This is going to bring up the option of stereo, and it's also going to give me this filter. So I'm going to use this filter to sort of get it to a point where I'm happy with the white noise sound. Around there somewhere, I think, will do. So before we go to the main part of creating this sound, I'm just going to use LFO1, for example. I'm just going to create this type of shape with it. like this for the moment. And I'm going to go into matrix. I'm going to select source, which is going to be my LFO1, and its destination is going to be going to the global, and it's going to go to the main tuning in this case. And we're going to double click on here, same as normal, and we're going to press 12 semitones, ST, press enter. And now, if I make this really slow, for example, so turn down the rate, get that dip down, but I want it quite quick. If I have this repeating, you'll hear it when it repeats quite obviously. So about there, and then we put it on envelope mode. We just get that little transient at the beginning of the sound now, so we just got that little transient bit there. And then I'm going to come over to not the mix section, although this is really cool in Serum2, we're not looking at that quite yet. Go to the effects. In the effects, we got now a main, and we got two buses. We're going to be using the main, just like the old Serum. So this means everything that's routed coming out of the main output here is also going to go through this effects before it gets to that main output there. So we're going to now put the magic of this whole process, which is the distortion. Add the distortion, and then we crank the distortion all the way up. We can then go back in here to the oscillator, and you can once again start to play if you want with the tuning of this. Up there somewhere, we can also put these through the filters. We get a bit of drop. Okay, we can also put the noise through here as well, but then you're going to realize that because I've cut it so low, you're not really going to hear it. See? And we end up with something like that, so a simple noise base. There we have a basic noise base. So we're going to leave this Serum like this. We'll say we're happy with this one. We've not done too much to it, but we've got the basic idea of the sound, and this is the traditional way of making space. Let's close this one. Let's go and open a new Serum. So let's go into Serum, SERUM2. We go, and let's go and make a new one. So we're going to follow the same process for this. We're going to use the SERUM2 tables. We use the 808. This one, excellent, like that. I'm also going to enable this one, but I'm going to turn this off for the minute. But I'm also going to select the same shape, so you'll see why in a bit. I'll show you an extra this, but just keep that down there for the moment. Let's put our randoms on 0, 0, excellent stuff. And we're just going to turn the volumes up a bit. We now need to go in here and just move the attack a bit once again. Rebuild that attack again, so come in here, make this kind of shape. Let's come in here, and let's go to our matrix, and then in matrix we select LFO1, go to the destination of LFO1, select global, and go for the tuning, double click, 12 semitones once again, and we end up with this. I reckon around there somewhere. So envelope mode now. Something like that will do. Excellent stuff. And from there, come back to the oscillator section here now. As we remember before, we also added a noise. So let's add this noise. Let's go into color mode and let's tune it. So and there somewhere. So we've got this set up. Now, what we're going to do this time, which is going to be slightly different to what we did last time, is we're going to come into the effects section here. And you're going to notice in the effects section, as we saw before, we've got buses. So this time, instead of directly affecting this sound, we're going to use the bus and we're going to do this. So bear with me. Let's put the distortion in here and let's crank up the distortion. We end up with this, nothing, okay? So going to the mix, now in SERUM2 you have this mix section which allows you to see everything at the same time. You can get to this in the oscillators as well. Here, you got your buses, you got your filter and you got your outputs here. So what we're doing is we're just focusing on this effects section, bus section here. So at the moment, nothing's being sent. So if I go to the mix and you can see these knobs here, turn up, for example, this, put this through bus 1 and this one through bus 1. Noise base again, but we're still getting the same one we got before. So what's the whole point in doing this way? Well, what I can do is I can remove this oscillator, which is our sub oscillator. I quite like not to do too much to my sub and keep it as clean as possible, therefore maintaining that nice, round, warm sub harmonic range that we know very well, without playing with it too much and detracting from those harmonics, etc. I'm keeping its original harmonics and not playing with it too much. A bit of saturation, etc. here and there is okay, but I don't want to destroy it so much as it is here, where it's going through. Sub sounds like that now, rather than this. Okay, turn the noise off. Sub is nice and clean here, and warm. So we can control this a bit, for example. And how do we do that? We are going to send this oscillator to it, and we're also going to turn the noise back on, and we're going to send this also to the bus. So we end with that. But we don't want our sub to be running through exactly the same. Okay? The other thing as well is I don't want this noise to be affected by the effects. I'm going to come back to the oscillator, and inside of the routing here, I'm going to select nothing, which should mean that this noise doesn't play. If I come back to the mix, sorry, and I turn this off, send, nothing. Let's turn this off the bus. No noise. Now let's bring this noise up and just bus. We get noise. So although this noise has no output, it says none, by busing it, it actually does have an output, and we can send it to the bus, which means it's not going to be affected by any of the other routing. So it's not going to go through here. It's going to go directly to this send channel here, which means I can now start to add this other sub as well, which is going to give us disco. We return to the noise sound, but like I said, we're still getting that distorted. We don't want that. So what we'll do is we'll come to the bus. So we go to the effects and we go into the bus after the distortion. It's important you do this after the distortion. You're going to add an equalizer. On your equalizer, you're going to remove any bottom end, turn down this, for example, move this up. You get those classic Dillinja type basses. If you guys want to know how to make those, well, there we go. That's kind of how you do that. But the thing you notice there is listen to the sub. Nice and clean and warm like it was before. We're not pushing or distorting the sub anymore. We're cutting out the bottom end. As soon as I bring this back, start to introduce those distorted kind of saturated harmonics of the low end sub. But I don't want those. I want to keep it clean. You can push the highs as well. We're getting that. But we need to come back to the mix now, because remember, we turn the noise off. There's no noise going through this one. Remember that. So that is one old school trick just you saw there to make those Dillinja basses. Send your sub and take the lows off. So you've still got the original sub coming through here, the main output. You're bussing it, but you're effectively distorting it and then taking away the low end, which just leaves you with that high end. So it's like layering a high end distortion sound over a clean low end sub. So now let's push the noise into it as well and see what happens. So we start to get that. Find like a sweet spot. I'm trying to find a point where it's not really clipping here, so it's kind of getting close to the point. I get that, and then I can start to come back into my effects area, so I can go into here. Now we're still in bus 1. Play around because the highs are up quite high. I can put, for example, on the main one, let's come in here. Let's just put a bit of, let's put a bit of a compressor on here. Pressure now, back the volume. Put it into multi. We can now come back into the oscillator, and then over here, let's put these through a filter. So let's put A through a filter, but let's add some drive for the filter like we did in the last one. Put it on to key tracking mode. Now let's just check these between each other. So we've got Serum there, but we've also got Serum here. So let's open Serums. This is SERUM1. And you get that type of sound. And if we go to SERUM2, we're going to end up with that type of sound. So you can see there's a slight difference between these two. In the first one, we're adding harmonics to the sub, but in this one, we really keep that low end nice and clean, but still get that raspy top end to it. We can add to this as well. Let's just close down, for example, the second one we made. Be this one, I believe. And let's look at this now. So I'm going to put this up by 1 and up by 7. We can start to get stuff like this. If we go up by another octave, we can also put this through here. We can go into these as well, and we could like put this in the bus as well. Then we get like this. We could also put something like this to that. Yeah, back there. Somewhere. Make this just go into envelope mode. Speed, let's put it on dotted and have it on like this. And let's pop that onto the level here. And we get those type of sounds as well, so which are quite cool as well. You can do the same thing on the other preset here and get a similar result. If we do the same thing by turning this one on octaves up to 7 on here. Control this with the same thing. It's over here. To put it on dotted. What kind of speed to have it, and see what happens. Send it as well, so you could also. So one extra thing we could do in here is come into the main here. And what I really like in SERUM2, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's quite a few new things. And as you can see, there's all these different new SERUM2 things. And this diffuser thing is incredible. So how does it work? I really like like it personally. I think it just is. I don't know if you can notice that just thump and that kind of thud that you're getting in that bass by just adding some fun sweet spot. You can also you really get those type of dirty sort of dirty basses. So you can see turn this off, turn it on. Really nice. It really gives a depth and kind of warmth to the sound, this diffuser preset. Let's try that on the other bass as well and see what it does to this one. So we'll do the same thing. We go to the main filter. This filter type can also be found in any of the filters you have on here. So that includes the ones on the main page. And we go to diffuser setting. Let's add stages. Let's add a little bit of drive. Let's add a bit of resonance. Check it out. So there we go, two types of noise bases, two different ways of approaching it. The second way, using the sends, keeps your sub nice and clean. The original way, as you can see it, just going through the main outputs, it's going to add more harmonics to your sub, which gives you a different type of results. So I hope this was useful for you guys. I hope you learned something from that and experiment. There's so much more you can do now in Serum 2, which is awesome. It's a really cool update. I think update is the word, really. It's nothing revolutionary. It's not changing the wheel in any way that we already know. So, but it's got some really cool new things on it. So experiment, guys. Have fun. If you've got any tips you want to share as well with Serum, etc., feel free to get involved in the comments. But until the next one, guys, thanks for watching and take care of yourselves. Peace.